To the second part of police report of Dylan Mortensen. I'm going to tail off where I went from. She didn't think anything was wrong. She later offered she may have been able to see Oksana lying on the floor because they also had center-see light, and it could be that she was able to see Oksana from the center-see light. She explained she has been trying to determine what was real from everything that she had been talking about with Sergeant Blake and myself. She advised she knew at the time with blank Kaylee and Maddie were real because she had a video of them together. Remember we said that. She was not certain how blank and blank got home that day. Please watch the one before this to give you, because we went from the beginning. She further explained she had been trying to piece things together because some things do not make sense. She stated that she had been truthful, but some of what she had been discussing is not certain is fact. She has been working through it to try and remember what happened. Blank was asked if a female who was crying was saying anything, and she advised no. The female was only crying and the male was only one talking. She described the item the suspect was holding as a cylinder shape. And keep that in mind. And was also triangular in shape. Okay. So it's like a cylinder but it was triangle in shape, like type of weight or something. I don't know. Sounds odd. She could not remember that if the lights were on or off encountered by the male suspect. I think they were off. She advised she does not know if this is even something else, something she saw, or it was something she dreamed. She advised the last time she saw Oksana was at the house at approximately 11:04 p.m. Blank confirmed this by checking her cell phone. Oksana had been where was Oksana? Oksana had been holding a white cologne and she was at blank at 12:49 a.m. She further advised Oksana and Ethan did not stay at Ethan's house with any frequency because Ethan's grades, he could not reside at the fraternity. She further advised Oksana and Ethan did not stay at Ethan's house. Ethan had his own apartment, but she does not know where his apartment is because she had never been there. She knows Kaylee and Maddie were home when she went to bed, and blank and from when she saw Oksana lying on the floor, but she was not certain about whether Ethan was home. She had advised she left blank and blank house approximately 12:49 a.m. to return home. Blank stated She is certain at 3:10 a.m., which through discussion might have been 2 a.m. Moscow time, Kaylee, Maddie and she were all in the house. She was not certain about Roxana and Ethan because she does not know when they come home. She denied perceiving a threat even after encountering the male in the hallway. She said there were people coming in and out of the house all the time. She denied remembering what his face looked like, and said she couldn't see that his head and mouth were covered, but she could see his eyebrows, and further advised she was not certain she could see his nose. When asked if she knew what the balaclava was, and she said no, so I asked Sergeant Blaker to show Blank a picture of the balaclava with his cell phone, and upon looking on the picture of the balaclava, she said it could have been it. She does not remember seeing his mouth or his nose, but she could see his eyebrows. 84. When asked if any of her roommates told her about prior incidents involving anything that concerned them, and she advised Kaylee had told them Blank and the other roommates about an incident a month prior when she was outside with Murphy about a subject who had been watching her. This subject was in the apartment above the girl's residence. Blank further explained that 2 to 3 weeks ago, while in Winco, Kaylee told her about a male subject who followed her in Winco's store all the way to Kaylee's car. Even when Kaylee went to leave, the subject was standing by Kaylee's car. Weird. Also 2 to 3 weeks ago, all roommates went to Starbucks together, and oh my god, Coburger had Starbucks, together, and when they got home, their front door was wide open, and they do not believe it had been open when they left. She explained there were prior issues with the front door, so she said it was possible for the door to be open because there had been a snowstorm, and she explained possibly the wind caused the door to open. Also, when they got home, the washer was going, which she described was not unusual, but this also concerned her. She explained because these things they went to get Ethan's golf clubs to protect themselves when they searched the house that time. Blank explained weeks prior to the 13th, Kaylee told the roommate she heard a woman scream, but no one else heard it. Blank was asked if she was telling either Sergeant Blaker or anything to prevent us from solving this, and she advised no, that she understood my question, and she advised she knew she did not sleep through the whole incident because she has text communications and other things that she knows would have required her to be awake. She advised she knows what she heard, especially about hearing who she believed was Kaylee crying, and the male voice telling her he was there for her. She stated again, she does not know how much of what she had been telling us was not factual because she is still processing the events. When asked why she believes she was spared after the male suspect saw her, she says she does not know why, and she does not believe anyone ever tried to open her door during the time he was in the house, and he could have easily have done so, and why would have passed by her room multiple times. She volunteered that to come through the sliding glass door, the person would have had to have scaled a tall wall. Oh wow. She advised the suspect would have known her room would have been occupied because he appeared to have known the layout of the house. Now I think that as well. She also said it could have been someone who was in the house last year when other girls were living in the house. She advised there was no one she knows who would have been wanted the girls to be hers, and the girls were loved by everyone. She said she had never heard even rumours which were negative about any of the victims. When asked about Kaylee's ex-boyfriend, Blank advised the breakup was mutual and they have their dog Murphy in common, and Blank comes to their residence to play with Murphy, and he and Kaylee continue to be friends. When asked if they co-parented Murphy, she said yes. Kaylee told her relationship with Blank had run its course. Blank thought Blank had handled the breakup well, because every time he came to their house, there did not seem to be an issue. Blank brought up the name Blank, but she mispronounced his last name during the interview, as someone she and others believed might be involved. Alright. But she was reluctant to say he was the suspect because she knows how damaging his reputation that could be if he were not involved. She advised she was told by Blank, Xana's best friend, that Blank once punched a friend of theirs in the stomach last year, but Blank did not know the circumstances as to why. Blank advised that recently Kaylee started talking to Blank. Blank seemed okay with that. Blank offered her DNA. Blake secured a swab from Dylan at the conclusion of the interview. She advised there might be difficult to locate the offender's DNA because they had conducted a deep clean of their residence leading up to the parents' weekend. When asked about when the deep clean of the residence occurred, it would have been before the weekend of the crime. She was advised there was evidence left in the residence, and she sighed and said was glad to hear that there was evidence found at the scene. She explained Blank and the whole sentence is out. When asked if she would be able to provide a description to the police composite artist, she said she would not be able to describe enough of the suspect to be helpful. She further advised the only thing she remembered about his face was his eyebrows were bushy. She advised she was confused about the offender would have taken the patio door out of the residence because of the drop off from the patio. The patio door out. Because it's the hardest part to get out onto the thing, well, he doesn't want to be seen. She advised she remembered that cars do come by their residence a lot, and she said there was a black truck driving past Blank's window, and she further said she was not absolutely certain it was a black truck, but there was a vehicle that went by their residence, and she would see the tail lights, but she did not remember if the headlights were on. But what drew her attention to it was the red lights on the back of the truck, and when asked if she meant the brake lights, she said yes. When asked what occurred after she went into Blank's bedroom, she said they eventually fell asleep, and when awakened she was lying next to Blank in the bed. She advised a friend of theirs, Blank and Blank mother, are planning a memorial event, and that has helped her emotionally. She advised Blank is crying a lot over this, but she has not been crying, and Blank has explained to her why she has not been showing emotions. She explained Blank used the word dissociate to describe her emotions. When she awakened that morning, Blank was next to her bed. They were both too scared to leave the room to go to the bathroom. She advised approximately 11:23 Blank, then corrected the time as 10:23 Moscow time, said text Maddie asking her if she was awake. She advised approximately 11:29 in Moscow time, text Kaylee, are you up? She could tell her Snapchat had not been read, and when she was texting through the Snapchat, Dylan advised she called Blank, one of her closest friends, about what happened that night with the masked man. Blank then explained when she reached out to Blank in a text message, which Blank told her was at 10:50, but she thinks Blank was mistaken. Blank told her she would send Blank to their house because of their concerns about what had occurred during the night. When Blank got to the house, which she described was about before noon, she is not certain if he came in through the unlocked door or had used the code to the front door to get into the residence. And when he got into the house, he asked about the location of a knife. She directed him to a knife. She advised she initially went upstairs from Blank bedroom with Blank, and she advised when she saw Zana, she realised Zana had not moved since she saw her earlier. She was still thinking Xana was passed out from being drunk. Blank then sent Blank downstairs. She advised Blank and Blank came over after Blank came to the house, freaking out. Because she had asked them to come to the house, she advised Blank then came downstairs, and she could tell by his facial expression he had seen something, and he told them to call 911. Blank was the one to call 911, and Blank at one point said she was on the phone to the police dispatch, and the dispatcher was asking her about a defibrillator. They told dispatch there were people unconscious. Blank denied seeing Xana or any of the other victims' bodies. But they did clearly of evidence of them saying and walking in and out the house. Well, they were outside when the police got there, but clearly they showed them, Xana. She advised they stayed in the house when the police arrived, and the police were putting on the tape when they realised there had been a crime. And when they saw the ambulance arrive and leave, Blank told them they would not leave unless there was no reason to stay.
combinations of influences. So, yeah, Family Tree this week is really interesting because it's so rich.
She then advised the vandal alert came out, and that is when they realised their friends were actually gone.
Multiple different types of music, which I think you can really hear reflected in the music.
Don't believe that. I reckon she knew well before that. She advised they all realised there had actually been a murder committed in their residence. She said Kaylee had a balcony, and she remembered looking at the pictures in the news, and Kaylee's curtains were all messed up. She thought the distance of the balcony to the ground may have been too much and brought too much attention if that is now the suspect made entry into the house through Kaylee's bedroom. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? But he knew to go out through the bottom door, you know. When asked if she checked the house for anyone else when she initially came home for the night with blank, and she was asked if she had to unlock the front door, she advised she believed she had to unlock the front door to get in the residence. She advised when she first got home, she remembered the sliding door was closed, but she did not know if it was locked. She advised when she first got home, she went to Kaylee's bedroom to let Murphy out of Kaylee's room, and Kaylee's lights were on. Alright, okay. And no one was in Kaylee's bedroom. Murphy came back into the house after going outside. Sergeant Baker asked Blank about the login and the username of the router of the Wi-Fi of the residence, and Blank advised Kaylee was responsible for that bill, and further explained she nor Blank were responsible for the Wi-Fi bill because they had just moved into the residence in August. Blank had some follow-up questions for Blank outside the interview, and as a result the audio recording was turned off at 2:11 p.m. the same date.
But what I found fascinating is the opening sung lyric line, which is, she said there's something in the woodshed. Now, I don't know how widely known this is, but this is a reference to a book from 1932 called
Hispanic, Latin, female.
Funny book, and it's a parody of
This next one.
in the 1930s, but contemporary novels about rural life. Character who's very funny in the book, this controlling, nervous old aunt IDAHO, who's often popping up and saying, I saw something nasty in the woodshed, and then that's become a phrase which is often used outside of the book.
Yes, I actually read that book because of that.
This is the lady who's been on the
To Neil Hannon and most of my pictures, to be honest, and Mannix and Fergus.
Yeah.
Pages and
I've read this one.
more than pages in school. But yes, and there's literally quotes there's something throughout the Divine Comedy there.
Yeah, and that's definitely a quirky one. It's lovely to hear Neil's influence and his views. There's a really bold, fun start to the song, and I think it's typical of
It was interviewed on the 21st of the 11th, 2022. November 18th, 2022 at approximately 12:42 p.m. Idaho State Police Sergeant Kenneth Beckner and Trooper Andrew Weinstein interviewed Blank Blank at the ISP District 3 office in Medellin, Idaho, regarding the homicides occurred in the university. Now, she lived opposite these guys. She lived at Blank King Road, across the street from 1122 King Road. One of the people across the street was former sorority sister. One was a classmate and the other two were people she knew through mutual friends. She knew Madison and Kaylee the best. Her boyfriend was best friends with Morgan's boyfriend, blank blank, so they hung out a lot. This was our current relationship. Morgan was in class with her. Goncalves was Anne blank sorority sister. She knew Exana, Canodal and even Chapin in passing. She has lived as blank for just a semester and currently a senior in school. She lived in the sorority house for 3 years and this is the first year outside of the sorority. She had been inside 1122 King Road multiple times, the last being in September. They came over to her house more often. She had known Morgan and Goncalves for 3 years. They met through recruitment. She saw Morgan and Goncalves Saturday night on November 12th. They went to the corner club after the game. Morgan and Goncalves were already there when she arrived. She was there a couple of hours and was really drunk. She left before Morgan and Goncalves. It was sometime around midnight. Goncalves had jokingly mentioned she thought she had a stalker in Winco. It had happened once and was an unknown person. 11. She heard from another friend, for instance, of the house door at 1122 King Road being open after all roommates returned home from a weekend trip once. Right, so no one was there for a whole weekend. She has a basement room and can see the 1122 King Road house from it. She woke up at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning and she didn't hear or see anything that night. That's not what she said on the YouTube. 1122 King Road didn't have a party on Saturday night. They may have had one on Friday, but it wasn't crazy. Morgan and blank were a solid couple and had dated for a year. Blank was with her boyfriend Boise that weekend. Interview concluded at 12:52. I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to find the interview with the roommate opposite because it's out there and I'll put it up on the next one. Thanks for reading along and taking your time and energy to read this. I'll try and make sure I put the title directly relating and yeah, any questions or any comments, please, I'd love to answer them. I support all theories and I would like your opinion.